Good morning. My name is Jeff Rowe. I've known Clive Gregory for 40 odd years. We first met at Middle Harbour where we raced S80s in a very competitive sailing environment. I raced with Middle Harbour Yacht Club and Clive was a member of the Peter Gibson Sailing School Club group, and they raced separate fleets of S80s against us at Middle Harbour Yacht Club. The sailing was very aggressive, no quarter given. Clive was an aggressive sailor, always calling for his rights when he didn't have them and bluffing everybody on marks, and there were terrible blues out there all the time. It was very competitive. However, we settled our grievances at the bar at Middle Harbour Yacht Club and all got on famously. It was the start of a very long-term relationship. I was invited by Clive to help deliver Fare Thee Well, which was the 40-foot Alan Payne yacht that he bought in Adelaide. Four of us sailed it around from Adelaide through Bass Strait and up the New South Wales coast. Very exciting trip, lots of wind, lots of gales, lots of calms. We arrived very exhausted, but all of us had fallen in love with Fare Thee Well. Clive continued to race Fare Thee Well with RPA and with the Royal Motor quite competitively. During racing time, after racing times and on weekends, Sundays, he and I would take it out on our own, out through Broken Bay for sailing and a couple of beers, and kept the relationship going on that basis for quite a few years. In that time, I worked with him professionally as well. He ran an IT company in Crow's Nest called Titus. I worked for him in a marketing and virtually as his advertising agency through that period, and the relationship just built up and got closer and closer. After a while I moved to Queensland. When I came down to Sydney on occasions, I still went out with Clive and we sailed. We used to meet up quite often down in the Hawkesbury River and raft our yachts up together. However, during the period up in Queensland, I wanted to come back to Sydney and had a yacht brokerage business going in Newport in Brisbane. Wanted to buy a brokerage in Sydney, so Clive joined me in that venture along with his wife Jan. We bought Jeff Pearson's Sydney Yacht Centre business at Middle Harbour Yacht Club and combined that with the existing Brisbane office and kicked it off very successfully. We had a really great first 5 months until, unfortunately, Clive contracted leukemia, and that was the beginning of his struggle. He went through a series of medical episodes and leading to a bone marrow transplant, and really struggled and fought the illness. However, during that whole time, Clive still raced his yacht Fare Thee Well, raced it up and down the coast to Sydney and different events, and put it into boat shows and took it to Tasmania for the Wooden Boat Festival on 2 occasions, to my knowledge. I think 2 or 3. He just kept loving that boat and kept using it. During the period, he did a major refit on the boat and spent Lord knows how much money on it, but it became one of the top timber classic boats in Sydney. All this time he raced it competitively, and boy was he a competitive sailor. Anybody at the Royal Motor that sailed on one of those twilight races when Clive was competing would know that Clive Gregory was out there on Fare Thee Well. He struggled and struggled to the extent where even some of his crew on occasions used to help lift him on the boat to just get him out there. He was amazing. Unfortunately, as time passed on and 7 or 8 years has gone by since he got leukemia, and unfortunately it got him in the end, which is very sad. And I just like to wish him well and hope that he's finding peace and comfort now in another place, and I wish him all the best. He was a great mate and I'll never forget him.